The one thing that did not age well when they were making the decision, all the men at Harvard, they were like, yeah, we're looking for diversity. But she's like a multi-millionaire from LA that's living
from
this
Malibu or Bel Air.
from Bel Air. And they're like, let's get some diversity. I was like, that not today.
Boom, shakalaka, turner.
Welcome back to the Millennial Classics, y'all. On this podcast, you're with Q and Burry, and we talk about the best and most memorable movies, music, and culture-changing events from our generation. Burry, how you doing today?
Doing good.
If you can see on the screen, we have another special guest. Amber, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me. I am doing great. And I'm so excited to do this because I love the Millennial Classics. To me, it's a lost art, how we made movies. So I can't wait to talk about them again. Let's do this.
The way we picked this movie for this week was a funky way, because I reached out to Amber and I was like, Amber, I love what you're doing. And folks, if you don't know, you need to know. Amber does have a YouTube channel, The Sword and the Pen Reflections. She does something that has given me the courage to attempt it myself. If you've seen one or two of our book reviews, it is because I watched The Sword and the Pen Reflections, and I was like, if Amber can do it, maybe I can attempt. But if you want to see it done correctly, if you want to see it done right, go check her out at The Sword and the Pen Reflections, her YouTube channel. And she does this thing where it's fantastic, where she compares a TV show, a movie, or a book with the reimagining. Like if there's a book of it and there's a reimagining, that she's doing the Wheel of Time currently is a series that I kind of binged my way through, and she's doing a very fantastic job. You could check her out there.
Thank you.
Of course. But like I was saying, the movie that we chose today, it was a funky way of going about it. When we have the option of having a female join our podcast, I like to use that opportunity to do a chick flick. So I just said, Amber, these are the chick flicks that we want to do for the Millennial Classics.
I had no idea he was on that. I had no idea that's what his thinking was.
It's 100% my thinking. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to use the opportunity that I have. No offense, but I don't know. I don't know if me and Burry have the right.
Hey, I just watched The Devil Wears Prada this week.
That's a good one
this week.
Yeah.
So we doing good.
You picked a good one. You picked a really good one. So as far as chick flick goes, this is I put it in my top 3, at least for the 90s, early 2000s.
So let me give you the stage. Why would you consider this a Millennial Classic, Amber?
I think, a couple of reasons. So I think people nowadays know Paris Hilton.
That's hot.
Her little mini Chihuahua dog that she carries around, she was inspired to create that persona based off of Elle Woods from this movie. So she started a trend in personas, for one. This movie inspired a lot of people to enroll in law school. A lot of women, but also men, just because she made it look fun and like you were fighting for justice, and it wasn't wasn't for boring people, as it says in the movie, right?
Exactly.
And it was Reese Witherspoon's, I think it was probably the movie that put her, I wouldn't say it put her on the map, but it was the one that crossed the generation boundaries. Everybody loved this movie. It was just a hit. It was charming. It was funny. It was adventurous. It was empowering. People just loved it. So that's why I think it's a Millennial Classic.
That's so good. That's so fantastic. Like, you sharing that information about Paris Hilton makes so much sense now. I did not know that forever. And that's beautiful. That's amazing. That's the kind of thing a movie would do to make it into the list of Millennial Classics. I love that. Mm-hmm. Watching it for this podcast was my first time watching this movie. Burry, did you see Legally Blonde prior to this?
I feel like I watched it as a kid, but to be honest, so you actually, when he was trying this out, he gave 2 choices. Uh-huh. He said Legally Blonde or Clueless.
That was a super hard choice because Clueless, that was the one that proved that this kind of movie can be done, where you can have a dumb blonde who smartens up or wisens up or whatever, matures, and people enjoy it. And it's not, it is a little deprecating, but not too much, So it was just charming and everybody liked it. Clueless did that, but I would say that Reese Witherspoon's performance was just top notch. It was so good. So I picked that one.
The thing with me is I really, really like legal thrillers. Anything with the courtroom, I'm in.
This is a
legal
my favorite
thriller? Movie is Michael Clayton, My Cousin Vinny, I love. A Few Good Men is a classic for me. This is a legal thriller where I actually forgot what the ending courtroom scene was. And I was like, I want to watch this again.
So you didn't know that shower scene was going to happen?
No.
Nice.
I was enjoying it the whole time.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the movie we're doing. We're doing Legally Blonde because it's a fantastic movie. You heard all the reasons. But before we get into the meat of the movie, let's take you back in time to July 13th, 2001, when this movie originally released. Obviously, in the time machine, we have to start with the real news. Never forget 9/11. That was the year 2001. So I do have to mention that. But for the culture, for what was going on, so you can remember and place yourself in the situation. In music, Alicia Keys released her debut album, Songs in A Minor. It won 5 Grammys the year after. Jennifer Lopez, and they also released an album nominated for like 10 or 15 Grammy nominations.
15 Grammys?
No, it was nominated for a bunch, but it lost everything. It was just a big hit. Jenny on the Block, back in the good old days, of course. And in movies, Shrek. We did talk about Shrek in the past. Shrek was a sleeper summer hit that year. And in other releases, I think the franchise that Mumbury and I talk about the most, the original, The Fast and the Furious, debuted in 2001.
Try Fat Burger from now on. You get yourself a double cheese with fries for $2.95. I like the tuna here. Bullshit, asshole. No one likes a tuna here. Yeah, well, I do.
Absolutely fantastic. And then obviously Legally Blonde and Laura Croft's Tomb Raider. In television news, the American Idol had premiered that year, changing the landscape of singing competitions on TV forever.
You blow me off like it's all the same. You let it.
Friends, The West Wing, and Gilmore Girls were the most popular TV shows at the time. And then in books, we don't usually talk about books, and the biggest book that year, and probably for the 5 years previous to that, was Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling about to drop, let's say, Goblet of Fire that year.
Well, that was my favorite book.
It had that first major death in the whole series, I think, was Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire, yep. Fashion. This is crazy because you watch this movie, Legally Blonde, and you're like, holy shit, what were these people thinking? But in fashion,
Really?
I love
it.
You love the fashion?
I love it.
My girlfriend said the same
great.
thing. She was like, the fashion is great. And I'm like, yo, some of these are just terrible.
It's
Okay,
wild.
the like teal suit thing that she wears when she's like, now I look professional like a lawyer.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. But all the rest are great. Everything else.
That was my favorite fit. I was like, get me that one.
And in fashion in 2001, denim was the thing. There was denim everywhere. People had denim skirts, denim bucket hats. Denim was in every fashion magazine throughout 2001. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your millennial time machine. Mumbury, making and ratings of Legally Blonde. Talk to me.
So I didn't know this. Legally Blonde nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Musical or Comedy, right?
Yes.
Did not know that, but that happened. Directed by Robert Lukatich, who pretty much only does this type of movie. So Legally Blonde, this is his best movie by far. Budget was $18 million and it made $141. So
amazing.
Smash hit. 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is okay, and 6.4 on IMDb. So solid movie. Great cast though. Reese Witherspoon, I was going to talk about this later, but I just feel like she's in the George Clooney zone where she's like super famous and she has like some really good movies. But I just feel like she's just like really, really famous. And like if like there was a gun in my head, I couldn't be like 5 movies by Reese Witherspoon. But like I just know she's an actress and she's super famous.
Yeah.
And if someone made me put a list of like 10 actresses, she'd be on it. For the life of me, I can't name 5 like really good movies.
I don't think she has 5 good movies. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at her IMDb right now.
But she's like an A-list star, though.
She is an A-list star, and like when I'm looking at her, like her filmography, she's a producer to some fantastic fucking movies.
She's a really
right.
producer.
But she just doesn't have 5 good movies that I would be like this movie, that movie, this movie. She was in Big Little Lies, which I think was absolutely
that was amazing.
That was good. Was she a producer for that?
Producer, and she was in it.
Nice. Yeah.
So Reese Witherspoon won for Best Actress.
Really? For that movie?
Right. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Are you serious?
No way.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
She won For not an Oscar, Golden Globe.
Oh, okay. I was like, you lying.
But still, a Golden Globe, though.
Golden Globe's not, and this is back when Golden Globes were people liked them.
I'm surprised Renee Zellweger didn't win the Golden Globe for Best Actress, though, because I know that she went through some shit to get that role.
And what movie was she in?
Bridget Jones.
Bridget Jones's Diary.
Okay.
But yeah, so then we have Luke Wilson, who is Owen Wilson's brother. I think that's the claim to fame, but he was in some stuff. Bottle Rocket, Old School is where everyone knows him from because that's a classic comedy. Jennifer Coolidge, White Lotus show.
Yeah,
the White Lotus show. Everyone
she's
talks
amazing.
about it.
She's
I've never
amazing
seen it, but everyone I know talks about it. Linda Cardellini. This might be sacrilege because I know she was super famous back in the day. I just know her from. She's the wife in Ant-Man. No, she's Hawkeye's wife in the Avengers movies. So that's all I got.
You know much more than I do, bro. Good for you, bro. Good for you.
I think she was super famous back in the day. But,
yeah, I don't doubt it.
Yeah,
seems
so
like
that's all I have. Background info that's kind of setting the scene. Like I said, honestly, for a small budget comedy movie, this cast is outstanding. Everyone does a good job. Selma Blair does like the turn pretty well, where you really don't like her in the beginning, and then by the end of the movie, you're like, yeah, she seems all right. Good head and shoulders. She's like, that dude's clearly a dick. But yeah, I'm ready to jump right in. Amber, do you have any background? Did you know anything about this movie beforehand, or?
Hell no, you blew me away just now. So all I remembered was I remember watching this with my girlfriends probably over and over and over again because we just loved all the outfits and how smart she was and the cute little things that she would say that were so funny. So,
and can I say right before we get into it, me watching it, I was like, I probably have heard people say the lines from this movie, but this movie had a bunch of quotables. I don't know, but there's some of the things you just can't say these days. But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Liberal use of the R word, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Times have changed, bro. Times have changed.
I almost wrote that down as one of my quotables. Is like, I probably can't say that anymore.
Even if you can get away with it now, in 5 years when they're showing this clip, it's going to be a bloodbath.
It's going to have one of those disclaimers like on the Disney Channel before it comes up and you're like, oh, okay.
So, Monbury, walk us through this movie. Take us through the scenes of this movie.
Before we start, we'll also just say this is like an iconic character that she created.
Hi, my name is Elle Woods.
I think that might have helped. Because we're also like, why was Reese this famous? Not a lot of movie stars get to create like iconic characters like this, where it's like you're just like recognized on the street, even if no one's seen the movie, even if you don't even know who you've never watched Legally Blonde, you'll just know who
Reese Witherspoon. Yep.
Right. Having said that, movie starts off pretty okay, but the first scene I wrote down that I really liked was the I'm going to Harvard.
What are your backups?
I don't need backups. I'm going to Harvard.
Scene when she's completely broken down. She's been dumped. The beginning dump scene is pretty good.
I think we should break up.
What?
Oh.
So let me get some clarification. When she makes the decision, I am going to Harvard, and there's a montage of her prepping, or I'm going to Harvard. We switch to the Harvard campus.
No. The montage before. The montage is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
The video essays are that's impeccable. But
she's ahead of her time, bro.
I'm able to recall hundreds of important details at the drop of a hat. Hey, Elle, do you know what happened on Days of Our Lives yesterday? Why, yes, Margot, I do.
It has to be a thing these days, going into college, people sending in video essays instead of real essays. I feel like that's amazing that she did that like 20 years ago.
And the video essay is hilarious.
I object.
It's ridiculous. There's no way that's getting you into Harvard, but good for
no
you.
way. No chance. They tried selling it in the Harvard room when they were like, "Whoa, she did that." I was like, "Yo, there is no way these stuff field." They try to be like, "Oh, the old white guys find her hot." If she messes up and can't hack it, they're gonna all get fired. Like this would cause a shitstorm.
I doubt it. I doubt it wholeheartedly. I doubt that. But wait, are you done describing the scene? Because I do want to talk about the actual intro. I want to talk about the reason she's going to Harvard for a hot second. Can we talk about what's his name? Mr.
Dude.
Warner.
Warner,
Warner.
Mr. Warner. I like his name because it sounds like a douchebag's name. He's
Sounds like a quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, he sounds like a douchebag. I love that name. So obviously the entire beginning of the movie, you know, she's prepping, they're going on a date, she thinks she's going to get married, she doesn't, right? And that's the reason she chooses to go to Harvard. But about that scene, I'm not gonna lie, maybe it's because I have been like scathed and from recent past, but that was kind of, he is a douchebag, he sounds like an asshole, I'm gonna need someone who's serious, is a really mean thing to say, but that is an absolutely...
It wasn't completely unreasonable. I feel like it just was, why would you go to dinner? Why wouldn't you just tell her?
That's the thing. I was gonna say it's the nicest breakup I've ever seen in my entire life. Right? Like,
yeah, you can't do that out at dinner though, in public.
But that's why you do it like that. You take her out into public so she can't make a scene. The thing is that she made a scene anyway.
You got to know your girl though, because if your girl's a making scene type, there's no way you can't take her out. She's still gonna make that scene. You got to.
He played it off well. He was like, "All right, you go get the car. I'll pay the check." I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought that scene was hilarious. But I think it was a great way to start off the movie, right? Mm-hmm. And all of her friends being super excited for her and then allowing her to be in her shits before she makes the decision to go to Harvard. It's like that camaraderie is kind of amazing. Like they are just so behind her, whatever she's feeling, whatever her decision is, her sorority friends are all like, let's go, Elle. I really appreciated that about the movie.
It was actually one of my notes about the characters in this show, the ones that are good, they are all extremely supportive. Even if they're a little bit dumb, they don't always offer the right support, the intention is there. And that makes them so endearing. You can be dumb, but if you're a good person, we still love you.
I did feel like they finished the movie first, watched it, and were like, Warner's not enough of an asshole. Like I feel like people don't hate him enough by the end of the movie. And then they went back, because it feels like in the beginning, his character, yeah, he's kind of a scumbag how he dumps her, but like that happens in real life and you're not like a terrible person. But then towards like the last third of the movie, he just starts doing really wild, evil shit.
Like the most opportunistic asshole. Yeah. It's like...
And you're like, wow, this character took a turn.
Are you crazy? Just tell him the alibi. We're going to lose this case if you don't.
Well, then we're not very good lawyers.
If you tell him, he'll probably hire you as a summer associate. He cares about Brooke. Think about yourself.
I don't know. But, you know, because Elle, from the very beginning, even if they show her being like ditzy and whatever, like she still has that beginning scene at the shop where they try to play her and she's like, no, exactly. I know exactly what's going on here. And then you're like, oh, okay. So she's operating at different levels than what they want us to think. And then that plays on later. But Warner, I mean, he's like a comfortably nice guy. She's in love with him. She would have seen that he's an asshole if he was acting like that for years. But
maybe. Actually,
good point.
Because
I do think that she wisens up in the movie as well. You see her become actually more serious. You know, it's not about fun and parties. It's about, I want to marry him, and what do I have to do that? And then she realizes that she feels fulfilled in what she's doing.
Getting finally to the scene that you were talking about with the actual getting into Harvard, Burry, all those opposed to chafing, I just like that video essay. That video essay is perfect, bro. It actually is perfect. She's like, do I have a good memory? Ask me what I'm doing. What happened in Days of Our Lives?
Do you know what happened on Days of Our Lives yesterday? Once again, we join Hope in the search for her identity. As you know, she's been brainwashed by the evil Stefano.
Yeah. What a throwback. That's my mom's show. My mom loves Days of Our Lives. I feel like this movie was hitting, bro. This movie was hitting with all of these millennial moments that I love. When the dude when she was walking down the street, it's like, I can use lawyer lingo. And then some dude catcalls her and she's like, I object. I'm like, it's great. It's like the most purely the most purely like comical way to try to get into a law school ever. And she does it so honest. Like what you were saying earlier, Amber, like it's so honest. It's her putting her best foot forward the best way she knows how in the most Elle Woods way possible. And it works. I think like it just works. It works.
You know what it is? She just commits so fully
to
it.
Yeah.
When she does that, like, I object. She like does a head thing and turns around and then starts like brisk walking towards the thing. And it's literally like that's like that's what Will Ferrell does.
Exactly.
That's like what Sacha Baron Cohen does when he's doing Borat. Like,
but I think she nailed the subtlety.
Yeah.
Because she didn't go over the top. She still felt genuine. Everything felt genuine. It didn't feel like a performance. It felt like this is this girl. This is Elle Woods.
Before we move on to the next scene, I promise, Mulberry, the one thing that did not age well, all the men at Harvard, they were like, yeah, we're looking for diversity. And I know that she's a female, but she's like a multi-millionaire from LA that's living
from Malibu or Bel Air.
From Bel Air. And they're like, let's get some diversity. I was like, that not today. That's definitely
They're reaching real far for that one.
Her list of extracurricular activities is impressive.
She was in a Ricky Martin video. Aren't we always looking for diversity?
So the next couple scenes are she goes to Harvard. She struggles a little bit and she gets kicked out of class, meets Luke Wilson. The next scene that I have that I like is when stuff starts clicking and she does that. She has that scene with the professor. The other Warners sitting right in front of her and answers the class about they're talking about some dude who donated his sperm and is now stalking the family. Which, first off, this argument is so ridiculous. But Warner's like, yeah, no, he's allowed to harass him because he gave him the sperm and the sperm was his. And she claps back. I literally wrote this down. That all masturbatory emissions are reckless endangerment. Like, I don't even know how you come up with that, but just nailed it. So ridiculous. But the professor's like stone faced. She's like, "You are a lawyer." Yep. I'm like, all right, cool. I guess we're lawyers now.
And for that matter, all masturbatory emissions where his sperm was clearly not seeking an egg could be termed reckless abandonment.
So there is a lot going on in that scene because you're talking about like when she's studying and buying her laptop and all of that stuff, right?
Yep.
Like
it starts turning.
Exactly. Because there's a couple of these like montages, and this is when she's like trying to become. Like, she's like, all right, fuck you guys. You guys don't think that I'm going to be good at this. So let me like actually show you. That all happens after she meets, I forget her name, from White Lotus. And she's like, why don't you go win him back? Right.
Paulette.
Yes.
Paulette.
So that's after meeting Paulette. I like that about Elle, right? She's having a shitty day. So her version of comfort is I'm going to find folks that relate to me. And I know it's like the most stereotypical feminine thing that you can like point out. Like, she's sad, so she's gonna go get her nails done. She's sad, so she's gonna go get her hair done. But it fucking works. And like, it works
because Paulette is actually a genuine person too. Because it wasn't just, she's a little stupid as well, but she had compassion and heart. And she's like, oh gosh, that sucks. And she tells her story. They both commiserate together. And she goes, gosh, if a girl like you can't, keep a guy, what hope is there for the rest of us? What are you waiting for? Go get the bastard back or whatever. That was great. I mean, you felt like even though they were all kind of portrayed as the dumb blonde, which is the stereotype that they're making fun of in this movie. They're showing that there's heart and goodness, and there is some degree of wisdom in all of this as well. Right. It's there under the layers.
Trust me, Paulette, you have all the equipment. You just need to read the manual.
Yeah.
And it's not like she went to like a luxury Bel Air type hair salon or nail salon. It was like, no, she doesn't care. She just needs it done, and she found someone and she doesn't think she's better than anyone else because she's still helping them out and actually listening and trying to help her with her problems.
And she forms a really meaningful friendship with Paulette too, because that's not their only encounter in the salon.
Right. And because I have that scene coming up next.
And wait, and then just a couple of quotes. Again, I got a bunch of quotes from this movie. First of all, when she's first talking to Paulette, she's like, she's got a 6 carat on her bony, unpolished fingernail. Love that. Shade all day, every day. And then Paulette returns, what's Vivian got that you don't? 3 tits? I was legitimately laughing out loud when she asked, because it's beautiful. It's beautiful, right? It's beautiful. And then another nitpick, cell phones in 2001 were fucking humongous. Did you see her cell phone? It's bigger than her dog. If you watch the movie, her cell phone's bigger than her chihuahua. But yes, just wanted to point that out. Mulberry, next scene.
Here, Paulette's whole issue with going down to the trailer, getting the dog, the dude coming out, What can I say about this? The dude, I know what.
Absolute trash.
Yeah.
I wanted to say the R word that you guys were talking about earlier, bro. This dude is stupid as all hell. Yeah. This dude is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. It is a super simple scene. Going back to what you said, Amber, like I believed Paulette and Elle's relationship right from the get because you felt it, right? But that moment was beautiful because Elle is doing all she can. She drives her there. She's like, you got this. We can do this together. Paulette freezes up. Elle comes in and uses all of this lawyer jargon that she has no idea what she's saying herself, right? So she's not like, I'm better. The thing like this, if you just notice that the scene, she goes in there, she's backing up Paulette, but she lets Paulette do the final blow. She talks about all this jargon, and then she says, Paulette, you tell him. And then she's like, give me the dog, you dumbass.
I'm taking the dog, dumbass.
That's what friends are for. That scene is what friends are for. And you believe it. And it's funny and it's silly and it's not necessary, but they have it so you understand, believe, and like Elle so much more along with Paulette.
It's got some sort of, there's an immortal heart to this.
Yes.
I mean, things that everybody can kind of relate to and go, oh my gosh, I wish I had a friend like Elle who, you know, would step in to rescue me when I need help, but then would like, okay, you got this, girl, you know? You envy that, I think. And I mean, guys too, I think like, you know what? I mean, maybe not exactly like this, but you know, you want the guy who's gonna hold you up when you need it and then let you take over once you're ready. You know, that
it's like they set it up so well. They set it up so well. And then that last quip at the end, which I felt as a man, Paulette, Elle says he's probably still scratching his head. He's so confused. And then Paulette's like, his balls got to rest because he's always, it's just, yes. Of course it makes sense, especially as a bald guy myself.
And it goes right into the bend and snap tutorial.
So you bend and snap.
This was also peak hitting on the UPS guy, and it's honestly even so much better that it's so ridiculous because you could sense like when this movie came out, people were like leaning forward in the theater, like, oh, shit. Like we're gonna get some good advice from this. Like we're actually gonna this the ticket is worth the price of admission if we can get some good shit. What's Elle Mom's got to say? And it was just the bend and snap.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely terrible.
Like just real quick, you're right. The origins of the story of her finding out that Elle learned that from her mom when she was in like 9th grade is like, it feels a little off. But then the wackiness of this movie is she gets the entire salon to start doing the bend and snap. It's come on.
Yeah.
What else do you want?
Probably simultaneously one of my favorite and least favorite scenes because it's like such a cringe moment, but it's also so endearing and silly. I mean, you just have to love it.
There's literally a black woman that's dressed like she's in like the 92 Olympics. She's literally dressed like Serena and Venus Williams' picture when they're like 9 years old.
Yeah, one of those tracksuits.
Like,
wearing the tracksuit. My God, I wanted one of those tracksuits so bad when I was a kid.
Yeah.
They were styling. You want it to be a little bit shimmery, you know?
but that was people were wearing those in the 90s, and she's out here in 2001 being like bending snap.
I still got it. That's what she's saying.
In her hair.
It's amazing.
Is also this movie has this is a classic 2000s of every gay dude is 100% flamboyant. Like they just auditioned for the Birdcage and and it comes back. Jesus, like Lord. That wasn't just like the first one. It comes back and it's a crucial piece of the story, which makes you think that the Harvard laureates are pretty stupid. That they fell for it. I've kind of said my piece before on how much I like courtroom scenes. Yeah. So the next two scenes, my final favorite scenes, are the two courtroom scenes.
Okay.
I split it into the first one with she tells Luke Wilson that he's gay.
He's gay. Enrique is gay.
Because he knows when shoe dates release, which honestly didn't age that well. Because I know hella dudes that know when like every Jordan's dropping, and know mad about shoes.
No, that's why I love doing these with you, Mulberry. Because I literally in my did not age well. I have like the gaydar. That's exactly what I wrote. The gaydar did not age well.
Well,
it's crazy.
I feel like you can still do it now. But you can't be that flamboyant where like, dude, I could like, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, yeah, he's gay. And because he's doing like 16 gay stereotypical things at the same time. Meanwhile, all the lawyers are like, what? How do you know he's gay?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And it's like, duh. He's accusing your client of murder, and she says that they're in a relationship, and your client says they're not.
You have
like,
exactly
put one investigator behind them and just get a picture of them kissing. Like that's your client's. Yeah, so the little hole in the movie, but that's just because I watch a ton of these.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, good little Luke Wilson scene because he doesn't have a lot of good ones. He kind of has to play the background a lot. And this is kind of one where he gets to step out and be like, be the hotshot lawyer because technically he is the hotshot lawyer according to everyone in the movie.
So yeah, I like exactly. That's what he gets to do is like, okay, so where did you take her out? What did you get her? What did you eat? What's your boyfriend's name? It's like it does. They do work really well.
And that's such a terrible lawyer move. I mean, do you remember as kids you would say things really quickly? Like gay people say what, and then you try to get them to say what, and then they're like like that's essentially what he does in the movie, and that's his like hot shot lawyer in the back pocket move.
They played it off, so it worked really well. I do have to go back just a little bit before we talk about the final courtroom scene. Another like reason why I really appreciate Elle, just like the sisterhood idea of her and Brooke.
How are you? Are you all right? You look so orange.
When she goes, visits her, and she's like, promise I'm not going to tell. I promise. I wouldn't. This is like our sisterhood. You're part of the sorority. We're about that life. And then they have the conversation. And then she's like, liposuction. Again. And then she goes back to talk to the rest of the lawyers when they're trying to figure things out. And she's like, I can't tell you. I won't tell you. It's not my alibi to share. Another huge reason why I love Elle.
Integrity. She actually has integrity.
100%. 100%. But I
Would you guys do that?
What?
Would you guys stay in prison for the rest of your life and before refusing to admit liposuction? Now I know the times are different, and nowadays you people get like surgery to just like even out their ass cheeks or whatever. But would you like not admit that you've had liposuction?
I think it was about her empire, though.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right? Because she was a fitness guru, basically, and she was telling women that they can have perfect bodies if they just do these workouts. And then if she gets exposed as a fraud, her empire falls because she was rich on her own.
Right. But would you have more of an empire if you were in jail for life?
That's true. No, I don't think it was reasonable. I don't think anybody would want to be in jail for life.
But Murray, that was literally the question that I wanted to ask you guys. You hit it right on the head. Back in the day, she's over here whispering liposuction when she's in fucking prison. Like, I don't think anyone there cares if you got shit done or not. But in
early 2000s?
Yeah, but in 2023, people talk about their BBLs, like men are getting their veneers, they're getting lengthening on their shins. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
Do you think it was better back in the day where you wanted to keep it on the hush hush, or do you think it's better now where everybody knows? And I do want to know what you guys think.
Like, morally, do we think it's better, or do you think it was more acceptable?
Do you think the culture? No, I'm asking you, which culture do you think is better for humanity? Everyone getting surgery and telling everyone, I got this done, I want to get this done, I'm going to get this done, or being ashamed at the fact that you got surgery done?
Well, as weird as it is, I think that back in the day, it was better because if you have everybody talking about, oh, I got this done, I had this done, everybody thinks this is acceptable and this is what I should do, or they think this is what I need to do. It, when more people are spreading like, this is what I do, that, especially celebrities talking about it, then it becomes a trend. You get people doing it because they see everybody else is doing it. And now I have to do this. But if
I'm a nurse and I can't tell you how many nurses are like, I'm injecting Botox in my neighbor. I'm injecting Botox in my cousin. I'm injecting Botox. It's like, it's insane.
Yeah, I'm not the right person to talk about this. I'm flying to Thailand next year to get my calves done. Small, low interest loan. I want my calves to look like triangles out here.
You're a monster.
Nah, you know what? I don't know. I can't tell you what's better. I think the issue is, in 2001, all the celebrities were getting it, just like her. They just weren't saying anything.
Of course.
And so I don't know if that's better, because then people are like killing themselves doing other weird shit, not knowing that it's surgery.
Yeah.
And then you have people just not eating or trying to do crazy stuff.
You might be right, because maybe back in the day you didn't see what other people are doing, but in 2023 you see folks going to Thailand and Brazil and getting like concrete put into their ass and then blowing up, and then they're like dying on the fucking.
I remember those things happening on planes where like somebody's breast implant would explode on a plane and stuff.
Yeah,
it was scary.
It was
the funniest thing is the BBLs, because you can't sit down.
Yeah,
and if you sit down, you deform it, and then your ass looks like it has an indent in it for the rest. That is crazy.
It's crazy because there's
I wanted the opposite of this.
Yeah.
There's women that are flying back from Brazil after getting their BBL done where they can't sit in their chair on the flight. So like, it's crazy. All of this is just crazy. All of this is crazy. Sorry about taking us on a tangent, Maburi. Continue.
And I'm sorry, I did skip ahead because I skipped completely over a pivotal character in the movie. Ali Larder, the gym aficionado, the workout queen, who's also in the sorority and who's like the linchpin. And what I will say, unlike a lot of comedy movies that's just pure comedy, this movie actually has a good like story for the
good heart, good story, the whole nine. Yes,
and the courtroom drama is actually like, it's not terrible. I mean, how they solve it is pretty cheesy, but the actual mystery behind she's found on top with the gun and blood everywhere and everything, like that could be a Law and Order episode. So pretty good. And then the jail scene when she gets put into like the exclusive intern group and that whole scene together, and you just feel like she really belongs.
Wait, what are you talking about? I'm sorry.
When Elle joins the lawyer team.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
and you just feel like she really belongs. She's saying stuff insightful that only she would know. And people are actually listening to her. And you're like, all right, cool. Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that. But the last scene, the finale, the perm finale.
I had a perm until like 3 years ago.
Did you really?
So you knew all about this.
I knew all about this, yeah.
Okay. Because they kind of do it like A Few Good Men, literally exact like A Few Good Men, acts flustered, acts confused, sees a little opening, and then like puts her toe right in that opening, and then just wedges it open, and then attacks.
I do think she was actually a little flustered in the beginning.
In the beginning,
yes, in the beginning. It was a little too dramatic the way she entered. I fire you, and then the door's wide open. Come on, like take a breath. Yeah. You don't have to do all of that. Why don't you talk about that before everyone comes out to do the entire scene? I did like the dramatics, even though it was over the top, and I did think she was flustered. But then when she heard perm, she was like, "You're obviously lying. Something else is up." And then she just went in. She went in.
Because she the first time she said it, she just said she was getting a shower.
Yeah.
And then, so there's nothing up with that. But then, like the second or third time she repeated it, she said, "I'm washing my hair."
Yep.
And then that was the change. And then it was like, wait, that's a new detail. Yeah, pretty cool. Classic black judge. I mean, every single one of these courtroom dramas, you gotta have a black judge in there.
Fantastic, yeah. Powder the people.
Laying it down.
Yes.
And then that's all I have.
A couple of things for me. I mean, we can't not talk about Professor Callahan. It sucks to say, but I was disappointed. I like Professor Callahan.
Yeah.
I didn't, because this was my
really supportive.
Yeah, because this was my first time watching it. I honestly, usually you can tell because like the creeper is a little creepy, right? And like I was waiting for Warner to do something sneaky bazooky, like getting on the phone and hearing what the alibi was and then telling the court like the alibi. And like, that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought it was going to be like someone mistrusting Elle and then Brooke being mad at Elle for telling folks. But it wasn't. It was fucking Professor Callahan being a creeper. It made it much more real. We just talk about how wacky the dramatics is of the courtroom opening, how wacky it was when they're doing the bend and snap. But that made it a whole lot more real. Thing I hated about that was you were saying earlier that sure, yeah, I felt blindsided because I like Professor Callahan, but if he's a shit character, he's a shit character. The thing that bothered me the most, Vivian is doing this thing where she absolutely is the worst asshole on the planet to Elle, and then she's becoming nicer and nicer, and like she's building some trust, and then you see that happen, and then you're like, oh, I thought you earned your way here, and like not even for a second, she's like, maybe that's not what Elle was doing. Like, the fact that Vivian jumped to that conclusion was the thing that pissed me off. Professor Callahan was disappointing, but Vivian, I was like, you're not going to talk to the lady? Ask her what's the deal? What's going on? Like, I didn't like her jumping to the conclusion that this is how you got everything up until this point, because you were there to witness her in class answering the questions, doing the homework, all of this stuff. So I didn't like that. I thought that was out of character and she should have done a little bit more.
But then you wouldn't have had the drama of her feeling like she's alone, you know? So
yes. So you have to, you have to make it get there somehow.
I think this is also like the Warner thing, where it felt like they had an ending, and then they watched the movie and they were like, wait, how do we get the professor to give up the head spot so that Elle can actually get up there? Because they didn't foreshadow any of the professor being a scumbag the entire time. And I know you could probably say like, yeah, scumbag professors are pretty good at hiding it, but like they could have done like
they could have done something.
Like a woman was leaving his office while she was coming in one of the times or something, and then it's like, oh, I wonder what that was. Completely out of left field, and he's like super supportive the entire time, even in the beginning. And they contrast that with the other teacher. It felt like they got to the end and they were like, well, why would this professor give up the head seat out of nowhere?
So just coming from the girl's perspective, it happens like this quite often, where you think that you're forming a friendship with somebody, they're really supportive, and then suddenly they reveal that their intentions were otherwise. And you kind of go, shit, now I have to put up like a freaking blockade here because I thought that this was about something else. So from her perspective, I could see it's passable, like she didn't see it, but maybe the audience could have been clued in a little bit.
For both of you guys, I do think he was supportive. I think it was, and I don't think it was either. I don't think it was like, I'm doing all of this just so I can have sex with her. But at the same time, he definitely felt that way throughout the process. And he was just like, this is the best time for me to do my creepy thing. Right. So,
but Luke Wilson would have known, right? Like you would have known if your dude's a dog like that. If he's a dog like that, where he's just dogging.
That would have been the opportunity to clue in the audience. Is remember when he's sitting on the bench with Elle and she's all upset, and then he starts telling her about the other professors. He could have dropped some sort of a hint there, and you can believe that it's something that kind of she hears it, but it doesn't mean what she thinks it means, and it goes over her head.
Right.
That's where I would have put that clue.
Or even if he's just like for some reason he grades women easy or something.
Yeah, something
like
there you go.
Something like that.
That's brilliant. That's what they should have done.
And it's like you know, like maybe he's not 100%, but he sees some hints. That was that's all I got. That was it. And my favorite scene was probably the courtroom scenes. I'm just a sucker for that.
For me, my best scene was, it's hard. Amber, can you go first? Do you have a favorite scene?
I mean, gosh, there's so many that I love, but there's two that stand out to me. The first one is the costume party. She actually goes, like she doesn't leave the party. She shows up dressed like a Playboy bunny, but instead of like running away, she just like, I just decided to dress up. You know? Like, I love that so much.
I'm just hanging out here.
The next one is when she finds out that she's made it onto the list of the lawyers, you know, who get to go to real court or whatever. And she turns around and she goes, me. Yes. And then she turns around, she goes, remember those 4 hours that we spent in the hot tub? This is so much better than that. Like, to me, that, yes.
Yeah. 4 hours is an excessive amount of time to spend in a hot tub. Like your hands look
I
like
have to agree.
You would be shriveled up.
Everything looks like prunes at that point.
Yes. Just another just following up on Amber's favorite scene, the diss that she gives to Vivian when she's just like, oh, you look funny, like a whatever, nice costume, whatever.
A frigid bitch.
Yes.
Oh, it's great. What does she say? So when I dress up like a frigid bitch, I try not to look so constipated.
Amazing. Amazing. Like just absolutely amazing. And like Maburi, I think you know me better than I know myself. Yeah, I had the video.
Yeah.
The video essay was my favorite scene. The build-up is always my favorite scene.
I think that's the scene that's aged the best too. It's the scene that's like you could pluck it out from that scene. And if you were doing a remake, well, talk about like making it this same movie now and what cast I would pick. But I think that's the scene where you could literally remove it and drag it right into the new movie and it would still work perfectly.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they did a remake, it would be great if they actually had that original. Like if they did a remake today and they're like, there was some girl who got in and, she wasn't supposed to get it. And they find her old audition or her old video essay. That would be fantastic.
Well, now it would be like TikToks and like whatever. But
oh my gosh, yes.
the only thing I got left is like closing thoughts. But also, I did come up with a recast remake for this movie.
Instead of the recast remake, I did want to do the comparison with Barbie. Because we all saw Barbie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I did want to do the comparison with Barbie. And like, I can't explain to you guys how much I think...
This is tough to compare. I think the only thing these two movies have in comparison is their blonde women characters. Because I think Barbie's trying way bigger things and trying themes and trying to prove points that are way bigger than this movie. It's like a chill comedy.
No.
I think these two movies are trying two completely separate things. Now, the main acting is, I think, pretty. I mean, Reese Witherspoon's killing it and Margot Robbie's killing it. But I don't know.
I have to disagree with you wholeheartedly. I have to disagree. Maybe the scope and the plan and the goal for what this movie was trying to do might have been different, right? Like, I think Greta Gerwig is trying to shoot for the moon, where Reese Witherspoon was just like, let's make another Clueless, right? Maybe that was the difference. Listen, if the message for both of these movies is woman empowerment, I think Legally Blonde did it in such a better way. I'm feeling angst of wanting to talk about this. So let's just close out Legally Blonde. Mumburi, you and I, we can discuss the comparison between Barbie, or we can just do another video talking about Barbie, because I really do want to talk about this. Like, I really do.
Well, Amber, do you have any quick thoughts about the comparison between the two?
Oh, gee, they're so different. I think you're right. It's really hard to compare the two. They're doing completely different things. You can't compare movies like this. I honestly felt like Barbie, it felt a bit amateurish in its storytelling.
Okay.
I mean, I could go deeper into that, but if you guys are going to do another video, if you want my notes on what I thought of Barbie,
hit us with your thoughts, because I haven't heard that description yet.
So the majority of the Barbie movie to me felt slow paced. And I think it's because it was reactionary humor almost all the way through. They had one gag and they did it again and again and again and again. It's like, let's take the dumb blonde Barbie doll and have her reacting to the dumb blonde Barbie world.
Two of your dolls have gotten loose.
This is the real world.
Wow.
Why are these men looking at me?
And then we're going to take the dumb blonde Barbie girl and put her in the real world and have her reacting to the real world, which I actually felt like it was a cartoon version of the real world too. So it was like the same thing. It was a fake world, just like the Barbie world was fake. So this is something that people do a lot in comedy, but they do it like once or twice. They did the whole movie like this, and you just get a little bit burned out. And as far as storytelling goes, I couldn't tell you what Barbie's real motivation was through the entire thing. It starts out with her just enjoying life, and then randomly she's thinking about death. I'm like, what led you to thinking about death? Yeah. And I know it was supposed to be, it was the lady in the real world. Like, she was thinking about death. I thought that she was just sad because she was losing her relationship with her daughter. Wouldn't she be thinking about loneliness? So it just felt like, a little bit contrived and just the same sort of humor all the way through. Can anyone tell me what Will Ferrell's purpose was in the overall story?
Look,
he was
to sell Barbie.
You guys,
honestly,
can
super corporate. Barbie is also way more corporate than this movie.
Oh yeah,
of course, the product placement. The product placement alone is like Transformers-esque.
Okay, wait,
It makes sense because Hasbro's involved, but there's literally a scene where Will Ferrell's talking, and on one shoulder is just the GM logo, and on the other shoulder, it's the Mattel logo. And then all you see for the rest of the movie is they're driving GM cars and they're selling Barbies. And it's really on the nose. And then at the movie theater, you can buy Barbie's car and you can buy Barbies right outside the theater. And it's like, for all the messages this movie's showing, when you actually are leaving the theater, it's like, all right, Like
that was the main message.
We're accepting all Barbies, but come on, you're buying a size 0 Barbie right outside the theater. Let's be real.
So I have to do this. Look, both Barbie and Elle start the movie out, and so this is just the comparison between the two because you guys are just wrong about them. These two movies not being alike. Both Barbie and Elle start the movie out in a perfect feminine utopia. Elle is in her sorority, Barbie's in Barbie land. Both decide to leave their utopia, but for very different reasons. Elle is chasing love, Barbie is chasing the answers to her found cellulite, flat feet, and thoughts of death. In their new environments, they quickly realize their initial dreams are inaccessible. Elle's ex-boyfriend is an asshole, and Barbie is not a hero, she's a fascist. Interestingly, though, both find comfort in other female companionship. Elle goes out of her way to look for a hair and nail salon, where Barbie runs away from her problems and accidentally finds the ghost of her creator
she doesn't
in
run
the
away from her
basement of
problems.
Mattel.
She runs to solve her problems.
She runs away from Mattel and she accidentally walks into the building. I watched this movie yesterday. Let me finish.
I thought you were talking about, okay.
Yeah, their choices diverge here. Elle stays, using her sorority skills and her hard work to prove her detractors wrong. Barbie, on the other hand, returns to Barbie Land, relying on her toy owner to solve her problems. But their plans fail because patriarchal forces get in the way. Elle becomes a victim of her mentor's sexual assault, while Barbie discovers Barbie Land has converted into Kendom. I'm just Ken. Where I see love, she sees a friend. But they're not defeated yet. With the backing of their old and new allies, both Elle and Barbie tear down the patriarchy. In Elle's corner, she has Miss Stromwell, tough female Harvard professor, Vivian, a former Mean Girl, now friend, Emmett, associate professor, and a lawyer at the firm, Brooke, the defendant in the case, and the woman who fires the man that sexually assaulted Elle. In Barbie's corner, she has Sasha, the teenager who thought she was a fascist, Sasha's mom, the owner of the toy who explains all these good things to the other Barbies, Alan, Ken's sidekick, and the rest of the Barbies to make her plan come to fruition. Capitalizing on their experiences and lessons, they triumph. Elle cracks the case using her intellect and stereotypical feminine knowledge. Barbie reclaims Barbie Land by compelling Sasha's mom to eloquently articulate the unjust challenges women face in a male-dominated society. Like you guys say, it's not similar, but the beats are all the same. They start off in a happy place. They go to this world where they're not accepted, where it's this man or just a different fish out of water situation. They get taken advantage of. And that's where it separates. And that's why I think Legally Blonde does it so much better. If Greta Gerwig is doing this feminist woman power situation, Barbie, this entire movie confuses the shit out of me, right? She goes to the real world. Nothing good happens to her. She runs away with her toy owner trying to fix her problems. And then when she gets back to her Barbie Land, the entire Barbie Land, this thing where it's supposed to be the matriarchy, this thing where all the women are these superpowers, is taken over in less than a day. I really don't understand what she was trying to do this entire movie.
See, I think you missed it from the very beginning when you were like, they both start off in feminine utopias, because their feminine utopias are completely different. In one, it's actually, she's living in a bubble, really, but it's not, it's just a bubble in the patriarchy, really, where she's at, because she still has to deal with getting into Harvard and no one trusting her. And don't forget, Warner's still killing it and dumping her in the very beginning. Whereas Barbie, I mean, all the Kens are actually homeless. Like, that feminine utopia is really like a crazy.
But it's a feminine utopia. We're not talking about the Kens.
Right, but those aren't the same. Where Barbie and Elle are living are not the same, really. Because Barbie's literally living like the queen of
yes, and Elle is the president of her Theta Kappa whatever, and
her sole purpose is to marry a dude.
No, her sole purpose is not to marry a dude. She
goes to Harvard for a guy.
She's excited to marry a dude, and
she goes to Harvard for a guy.
She goes to Harvard for a guy. Fantastic, great.
She changes her entire life to get married to a guy,
and that's fair, and that's fair. That's fair. I hear you, but my point is, at the end of the day, even if Elle is doing the less like feminine power thing, Legally Blonde ends up being the more woman empowering movie than Barbie, which is crazy to me. She chases her boyfriend to Harvard, but the the next time she sees her boyfriend, she figures this out. He's an asshole. I don't want to be with him. And I am going to prove that I belong here and that I can be great without his approval. And I am not going to just be good at being a lawyer. I'm not going to be here just to prove my love for him. I am going to graduate. I am going to earn my spot on this team. And I'm going to be the fucking valedictorian. Barbie, her end story. What the fuck is going on at the end of Barbie?
Well,
Like,
also at the end of Legally Blonde, also her dream didn't change. She just attained new interests. She gets married at the end, right? That's what the text says.
Right.
Is he's gonna? Well, I mean, we know she's going to get married.
Yeah.
Also, she doesn't sabotage her own feminine qualities. She doesn't look down on them. They are part of her power. Like when she walks into the courtroom, knowing that now she's going to be the top lawyer defending what's her face.
Right.
She's wearing that cute pink
Back in
suit.
pink.
Like she's, dressed for the part. She's like, I'm embracing this. And it was, it's a recognition of she is her own person, and that's fine. And she's just figured out how to live in a world that is not always going to be perfect for her type, I mean, that's what life is. Honestly, it's a more honest movie for sure, because you get to the end and realize, nobody's going to change the world for me. I have to change.
Thank you guys for doing this. And I really do appreciate it. I hear what you're saying, Mumbury, but like, I really do feel like two things. Number one, like the message isn't super clear in the Barbie movie. I feel like they're saying like 100 different things, and I'm really not sure. Like, well, Amber, can I ask what
her driving force in Barbie though is to save herself. In the beginning, she leaves to save herself, and it's opposite, because Elle is leaving to try to rescue a relationship, and Barbie's leaving to essentially just make sure that she doesn't get any cellulite anywhere in her body.
Yeah,
like that's her sole purpose.
Okay.
So and that's how she gets to the other place. And then once she gets there, she sees how shitty it is. But Barbie also does the thing where you juxtapose that with Ken and how he's dealing with, and you kind of see Ken is actually doing the Elle path in
Barbie,
in this movie, where Ken is the one going like, wow, I'm really in this shit, but my eyes are opened.
Yeah.
Like this is actually like, I don't have to do this. I can actually do all of this, and I can be a doctor, and I can be this, and I can be that. And then he comes back and he's like, guys, we don't have to do this. We can do all this stuff.
Was Ken the real hero?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right, because Ken does end up chasing Barbie, chasing the person he loves, and then comes back and finding out that he can be more without her. But
so Ken is legally blonde.
Ken is legally blonde. But can I just ask, like, for real? So the end of the Barbie movie, what are we supposed to understand at the end of the Barbie movie? I'm legitimately confused. Like, so she goes back to the real world, so she accepts the cellulite, so that's why. So, and then she goes to the gynecologist appointment, because now we're supposed to know that she accepts change. Like, what happens at the end that I'm supposed to understand? Because
being a woman is the best thing ever.
See, this is where you get. I don't want to be out here defending Barbie for 25 minutes, because then now it looks like it was my favorite movie. Listen, I had some issues with the movie too, right? And I just didn't like how it ends with like a 10-minute speech on the nose about what it means to be human. Did not like that part. And I also just thought that the whole point was undermined by like, Barbie's literally the perfect person. Like, it's Margot Robbie. Like, what are we supposed to learn from this? Like, life is okay if you're Margot Robbie? I don't know.
Well, I think that the very last scene, her saying, I'm going to the gynecologist, that to me kind of reveals what the point was. It's that just being that, how it was like, what about average Barbie? Right. And they're like, oh, that will sell like hotcakes. That's it. Like, being a woman is great, and you should aspire to being a woman. That seems to me like that's what the point of it was. But like you said, she's Margot Robbie.
Right.
But
they make a joke about it.
She aspired to be.
Yep.
Yeah, she aspired, though, to be the average woman. Like when she's sitting on that park bench and she looks over and sees the old woman and says, you're beautiful. So I can see the message that they're trying to get to. I didn't feel like they got to it in the best way, but it would have been neat what if she got out and she met this mother and got to see all of her memories with her daughter and was like, I want to be a mom, or like, I want to have a family like that, or something, something that's a little bit more human other than this vague, I want a vagina kind of thing.
Yeah.
I
mean, the only like normal person that was like a regular Barbie was the quote unquote crazy one who lives up in the hills and he's the only one that looks like a real person.
They should have been a ton of her. Yeah.
But actually, all right, let's wrap this up. I'll just throw out my remake real quick, see if you guys like it, and then see if you guys will go see the movie. All right. Coming out in 2024, Legally Blonde. Go see it with your friends, starring Halle Bailey as I just realized it's Legally Blonde.
Okay, wait, Halle Bailey? I was gonna say, why are you starting
Actually, she's got through enough. She's about to get death threats after Mermaid. If she does Mermaid and Legally Blonde, she's gonna get some death threats. What am I doing? All right, I was doing Miles Teller as Warner, right? Because I feel like he could be a nice dude in the beginning, and then a real asshole towards the end.
I can definitely see Miles Teller's, but I want him to ham it up. I want some more time. If Miles Teller's going to be Warner, I want him to have more screen time.
Or the other dude from Top Gun, to be fair. The blonde dude in Top Gun would have been
he's
good
a great
too.
bad guy. He's a great asshole.
He would be good.
Yeah.
He would.
He's got that face.
John Hamm as the professor.
Okay.
Give me a little John Hamm as the skeezy professor, but he's supportive in the beginning.
I want my skeezy professor to look a little uglier.
No, you got to have him be charming so that the audience kind of forgets the clue also.
Okay.
You know?
All right. I'll give you that. But
let me get Emma Watson.
As Vivian?
Vivian.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, as Vivian.
That'd be so fun.
So who's going to be Elle? Who's going to be Elle? Who's the recast for Elle?
I had Zendaya too.
Legally Brunette, I guess.
Legally Brunette. I know it's tough because now that I think about Legally Blonde, I think then you might have to flip it because nowadays you have to have some person of color somewhere on this cast list. So that's why I was thinking of flipping it. But you know what? Legally Blonde.
What if you had? Go ahead.
If you had the Euphoria, who's the Euphoria girl?
Maddie.
Who's the
she's the bad bitch
famous,
in the
human super famous one from Euphoria.
Who dresses up like the doll all the time. I know exactly who you're talking about.
What's her name?
She just did that. Yeah,
she's all over the place.
Yes,
but if you do her as Legally Blonde, but then you have to switch it up a bit. I think down the cast list, but yeah, maybe Idris Elba. Maybe Idris Elba is the professor.
Exactly. I was just thinking that. Yeah. Okay. Any final thoughts, Amber? Thank you so much. I know we were all over the place. We usually don't do this. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts, just if you haven't seen Legally Blonde, you really should go and check it out because I think it's doing so many things so well as just overall in storytelling, character development, nailing it with the comedy and the women empowerment that we're seeing constantly pushed today. I feel like it's something that shouldn't be missed.
And I think that's what I was trying to say the entire time when talking about I'm not going to get back into it, but I'm just going to say, if you are looking for a movie that you want to show women empowerment, this has to be on the top of your goddamn list. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, it is a millennial classic. We'll catch you on the flip. Deuces.